So let me then go to the next question. And the next question is basically about the use of a brand positioning tool. And it's a very specific question, but I'm asking that because, again, in our Brand Growth Bootcamp, we actually train marketers on brand positioning and strategy. And we spend quite a lot of time to basically take the learners through each of the elements of a brand positioning, what it means. And there's a lot of crafting and thinking and articulating, understanding, etc., and how each of these boxes actually connect with each other. So my question for you is, how much do you believe in the use of a brand positioning tool? How crucial you think it is to work with such a tool as a marketeer? And have you had maybe a situation where luckily you had it to guide it, or luckily you kind of didn't use it, or whatever is the story behind it? So how did it help you and how crucial it is for you?
Super. So, Anne, I think for me, brand positioning is amongst the most important things that we do as marketers. And it's not just important to do it as a framework or a workshop or a one-time activity, but to crystallize that into a very sharp playbook or guidelines or frameworks, and make sure you do it consistently again and again and again. Yeah. And I think what sharp brand positioning allows you to do is drive a branded memorability, even when your brand is not there. So even if you don't have your brand logo in a piece of communication, just the way you're saying it and what you're saying, and colors, tone, voice, etc., leaves the impact on what the brand stands for. So for me, brand positioning is absolutely number one. And there I'll go back to my recent experience at Licious. So when I joined them about a year and a half ago, they were doing some amazing work already. And we felt that we need to take all the good stuff and then craft that back into what the brand stands for and what the brand doesn't. And here again, I'll use the lens of the value creation framework. For me, that's an interesting goalpost. So the brand is a person, and how do I make sure that everything fits into that persona most effectively? So let's use Licious as an example. The brand stands for fresh meat. So our functional proposition was all about freshness and the way we deliver freshness through our cold chain, through the product, through packaging, etc. Then the emotional piece about how do we fit into consumers' lives. And there we chanced upon this very human element of the brand, saying we are offering fresh meat which you cook up at home. And hence, you can't be this very perfect kind of a brand. You have to be somebody with a little bit of touch and feel. It must feel like me. It feels like your ally. So it's different from a very, chef-like experience. And I'm going to use a movie reference here, and some of you may recognize it that way. If you think of the movie No Reservations, it's a Catherine Zeta-Jones movie. If you haven't seen it, just keep this in mind, and you will know the reference. So she's this very, very pristine kind of Michelin star equivalent chef. Everything has to be plated and perfect. Another contrasting chef reference is this movie called The Chef with Jon Favreau, who's the director. He's playing the chef in it. He is very much about a gregarious, happy, fun. It's all about the food. It's going to taste amazing, but it's not going to be plated in the most perfect manner. So I think when we use this as a reference, Licious, the brand, is like Jon Favreau in The Chef, and not like Catherine Zeta-Jones as a chef. Now, when you have that kind of a reference, which brings it alive for you and your teams, and then you break that down into every element. And I'll use one more element, which is the visual imagery. Yeah. So you can imagine a nice plate with everything, lined up. Yeah. We actually said that's exactly what we won't be, because if someone walks into my house, for sure, they're not going to see everything lined up. So if you're going to take a picture of some nice slices of fish, they will all be, a little bit. And the word that we use is called entropy, that we want entropy in our visuals. We want everything to be a little bit in disarray. It could be kind of the wabi-sabi concept in Japanese. Yeah. So different kinds of things. So I know I could go on forever on this, but I think broadly speaking, this is what I would say. Take brand positioning. It's very, very, very critical that you lock something in, but more importantly, consistently deploy it. And for you to consistently deploy it, because your brand doesn't just rest with you as a brand builder. Your agency partners will work on it. Creative teams will work on it. It will go out there into the world. So craft some playbooks which ensure these guidelines come alive. And like the examples I just used, let them not just be kind of a do's and don'ts checklist. Try and visualize this. Like my chef is not Catherine Zeta-Jones. It is John Favreau. My visuals are entropic in nature. Try and bring that alive so your entire ecosystem of players understands your brand positioning to deploy it in that manner. In that context, we won't have time now, but I've shared with Olivia 2 pieces of advertising, which she'll put up on chat. You can see it at your own time. This gives you, and these are in Hindi, which is an Indian language, but we've got them subtitled in English, so it gives you a flavor. A lot of it is about humor, so that's the part you're going to miss, but you'll get the emotion. It gives you a sense on how we took this brand positioning and translated that into some advertising.
Lovely, thank you. And I wrote down the word entropy. I'll check it out later on to see if I get exactly the meaning of the word entropy, because it's new in my vocabulary. So amazing. But yes, and the way that you describe it is that we do capture brand positioning in a tool. It doesn't matter what tool, because that becomes then the North Star for teams to be guided into their decisions, into their choices, into their executions. And that's why it is important. Sometimes you still see people who don't have it articulated, who don't have it written down, who don't have it well digested. And then you see also very often campaigns going into all directions, and then you create more a schizophrenia than a consistent brand. So great example and great illustrations, Meghna.